Aw, boy! You're listening to the Thodcast. Yoo-hoo!
And welcome to the Thodcast, episode 18, where I'll be talking with my brother about the Lego movies. This is your host, Philip Elke of the Thodcast, conversations about animation. How's it going, Dawson?
Hey, it's going really good. Lego Movie 2 was awesome, and I'm excited to say a few things about it and listen to a few more things.
Yeah, we're going to just keep this a little bit brief. We're recording this last minute, and it'll be up a little bit late, but it's been a busy week for both of us. And yeah, we just want to kind of give general impressions on the Lego movies, especially the most recent one, Lego Movie 2. I know we said we were going to do it on an earlier show, and we just never got around to the Lego movies just yet. But and I figured now would be a good time to get to it. Now we've both seen the second movie, and I don't know if each movie necessarily deserves a full episode. We were thinking about doing that, but I think we can sort of sum up the gist of both films in one episode. So I think we're just going to take that approach.
Yeah, they really blend together well, so we can kind of talk about them as a unit.
They do really. They are kind of part and parcel of the same thematic, I guess, parcel, or I just said parcel, part and parcel of the same thematic family.
Part and parcel of the same envelope. Oh, thematic yellow envelope.
Mm-hmm.
What are those called?
A manila envelope?
Yes, manila.
But because these movies are so centered around family and around child's play, they really deliver, I think, something unique and special in sort of today's media landscape. And you can kind of draw comparisons to something like Toy Story or other movies based around toy properties. But I think these movies give you something really unique about the perspective of children as they are playing. I think whereas Toy Story was largely about the toys independent of the human characters, these are entirely told through the perspective of toys as they're being played with, which is really a fascinating subject.
There's nothing like it. There's nothing like it out there in movies. And it's such an immediately intimate, relatable sensation. And I'm amazed that they are able to capture that particular feeling.
Yeah.
Like everyone knows what it's like to, fall in love and have your own variation of the hero's journey sort of a thing. People, relate to movies all the time. But that particular feeling of I'm playing with my toys and I'm relating to my siblings and my parents while doing that, and then to have the toys that you're playing with have their own relations with each other all at the same time. It's astounding, and it's so strange and weird and awesome to feel those things while you're watching the film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, the fact that these are like toys that are being played with is kind of a spoiler for the first one. It really isn't until the very end that we learn the twist, where there are human characters involved, and this Lego universe is some kind of crazy meta hallucination by, that's just sort of an abstract representation of the psyche of one of the kids in these movies.
And I don't know. I would say it's actually it's a perfect representation of kind of what maybe my imagination was like, maybe what kids' imaginations is like, where, when you're playing with toys, when you're playing with Legos, you're holding the figures in your hand and you're weaving these complicated stories and relationships together. And yeah, you're just bouncing them around with your fingers, but in your mind, this whole, it's alive and interactive in a transdimensional sense, and that's what's happening. It's like when you watch the Legos doing the Lego things, you're watching what the child imagines in his head, but then also you're watching literally what the Legos see. It's like it's not honestly that hard for me to sort of get what's going on in these films. It's the kids have their reality. They live in three-dimensional reality that we all know and experience. And then the Legos themselves have their own dimensional existence. And like, it's not that one existence isn't real and the other one is. It's like they're both real. It's kind of a Narnia thing where when the kids in the human world go to Narnia and they come back, it's like, no, time has passed. It's like, it's just such a completely different realm, but yet
Well,
so
this goes
connected.
back to my sausage party rule, where this dimension is something that can only be accessed through the consumption.
It's exactly that. I just wish you had a different film that you could title for it, so you didn't have to keep bringing it up.
I
Because
love
when
the
I'm talking
sausage.
about the Lego movie, the last thing I wanted, Philip just said he loves.
I
sausage.
said
Okay.
I love the. I mean, I was gonna say the name. I love the name, the Sausage Party Rule. I don't necessarily love that movie, but it's such a great.
That's
concept.
fair. That makes it kind of funny. It's like, oh, the sausage party rule, and I go, oh no, don't make me think about that. But,
It's
but
a
accurate.
fun film. But yeah, this movie, like, because there's the Toy Story rule, which is these toys just straight up come to life and are
Yes.
interacting in the same planar existence as humans. But the Sausage Party rule is a bit more abstract. It is like it occurs within the space between spaces, if you will.
Yeah.
Another Indiana Jones reference.
The
Leap from
space.
the lion's head. Well, they're. I mean, these movies, speaking of references, are just chock full of pop culture paraphernalia.
But they're still gonna hold up in 10 years or 20 years
Mm-hmm.
because of how well done they are and how the humor doesn't rely solely on pop culture references, but just how snappily it's cut together, how brilliant the writing is. I mean, these movies just, they move and there's never a waste of space. I love watching these movies because every time I sit down to them, I immediately get engaged and swept away because it just doesn't dilly-dally about. It is not a moment is wasted, not a single one.
It is very anarchic and has few rules. One of the few rules, I guess, that this movie really tries to adhere to is just building everything out of Lego pieces. There are a few exceptions in some of the more like mythological moments in the first film when they're like in the underground volcano and stuff. Like not all of the volcano and rock and stuff is made out of Legos. And then of course they start bringing these MacGuffins, these objects from the real world, and that starts to like make you wonder what else is going on here. You've got the crazy glue, all the little items that are in Lord Business's castle or his tower. How could these potentially play into the story that is being told, and the story that's it's linear, it's got a certain logic to it, but it's also just very frenetic, sporadic, and improvisational.
I mean, how they incorporated time travel into a plot, an interplanetary plot that has two plots going on because one is the real world and the kid is telling the time travel story and we're watching that time travel story unfold in the dimension of the Lego characters who think that they are both in command and subservient to the fate of the time travel.
Yeah,
it's bonkers how well it works. It's
I mean, is that time travel thread supposed to be reconciled within the world of Finn, the boy? Like, is he actually coming up with the time travel scenario in his head, or is that just an extra?
That's what I came away with. That like both he and his sister were coming up with such imaginative and elaborative ways to correspond with each other and to bring their worlds of play together that she concocted this whole wedding scheme and abducted the Justice League, and he concocted this, and I imagined that the boy was able to like think fully through and really considered, do I want to play with my sister? Am I kind of playing with my sister by playing against my sister? And instead of just saying, no, I don't want to play with you, I'm gonna imagine a way that these toys that I love, these characters that I play with, are combating this situation, this contentious situation in real life. So I mean, that's how I interpreted it, was that the boy was in fact, because you see him holding Rex's ship, and like, I don't know if he was directly responsible for throwing any of the characters under the washing machine dryer.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'm in major spoiler territory without fair warning, but
yeah, I don't know. You wouldn't think Finn would forget about Emmett for too long. Now, yeah, and we've already jumped headlong into like the most significant meat of the second movie, and I don't know if this is just a sign that, you know, our opinion of the second film, which is it's at least as good as the first, if not better.
Easily as good. Yeah.
It didn't do very well at the box office, though, in comparison.
You know, my guess, and you can tell me if you have a different guess, but I mean, when people saw the Lego movie coming out in theaters, a ton of people probably immediately dismissed it. So I'm guessing seeing the Lego movie 2, like, no matter, even if people liked the first one or heard how good it was, subconsciously they're going, the Lego movie and it's a sequel, and it's like double hesitation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we've already had,
just too bad.
I think 4 theatrical Lego movies. The first Lego movie, then they did that Lego Ninjago.
I haven't seen Batman or Ninjago.
Okay, yeah, that Ninjago one I think is more aimed at like diehard Lego fans and children.
And children, yeah.
And then Lego Batman's, of course, kind of for everybody because of all the you know the zeitgeist references. But yeah, now we have Lego, and the Lego Batman film was pretty successful. But yeah, now we are back to.
I can't believe I didn't see it.
Yeah, it was okay. I didn't like it, as much as either of these films.
I've heard some people say that it's their favorite.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it does banks just so heavily on
Batman
recognition. Yeah, all the Batman sort of history and lore. And this movie has some great moments too, where they draw upon the Batman franchise. There's an Adam West cameo, which is great. A few puns, Batman Forever. Yeah, in Lego Movie 2. It's he plays a major role once again. He's kind of one of the almost like a MacGuffin character in this one, because
he's so wonderfully relevant to the plot.
I don't know,
integral.
Yeah,
in a way you couldn't even.
Well, and it's I think it's just kind of part of these films' charm is the extent to which they involve Batman, like how random that this. I mean, he's a hugely famous and recognizable character, so it's advantageous to have him heavily involved. But
you don't expect them to keep making use of him. Like, you're always waiting for them to forget about Batman or drop Batman or like cut the Batman thing, and they never do. They just keep going on with it, and it's so good.
Yeah, like when Warner Brothers prefer that this beloved character not necessarily be put in all these zany situations. And sort of compromising scenarios, right? I mean, I guess Batman has run the gamut.
It's like, who lets another franchise use property that extensively? It'd be like as if in the Kingdom Hearts games, some Disney character was like a main character right alongside the main original character that you play as, and like goes through the whole game with you. Which actually is true in the case of Donald Duck and Goofy, but they don't really have as much of their own.
Well, those characters, they're mascots of Disney.
They're mascots, yeah. They're not like, it'd be like
Aladdin.
Oh, Elsa or Aladdin, Aladdin as a main character, like, which would be great, but it's not done. But they do that with Batman, and they take a dump on the rest of the Justice League, which I'm also kind of amazed Warner Bros. Lets them get away with.
Oh yeah, the multiple versions of Wonder Woman, pretty great.
That was nuts. Oh, this movie is just nuts scene after nuts scene that you don't. And songs, musical numbers, 2 of them or 3, 2, right?
Yeah,
and just appear out of nowhere, and it's perfect. It's
I'm surprised it took you as long as it did to see it. I went to it opening weekend and I enjoyed it enough to like
I am too.
Well, I'm glad I saw it again with you. And I mean, I was thinking about going back just by myself, but I was a little weirded out by because like some of those musical numbers are a little awkward and kiddie.
That's so funny. I never got like cringy vibes, which
Okay.
when you talked to me about it, I was like, ooh, I can see where maybe this film has some flaws where it didn't, where the original didn't. But
Mhm.
when they came and the circumstances in which they came, I was sold.
Yeah, it really is played to a maximum effect where it's not just this hackneyed by the numbers Saturday morning cartoon villain scenario. You're really treated to multiple levels of nuance with the villain character who I think she is the source of the first musical number.
Yes, and like you just said, it's not some Disney or some TV children's villain, super secret
Yeah.
evil plan. Well, like the charming, wonderful nature of this first musical piece is
Yep.
that the song lyrics are literally, "This is not my super evil plan, and I'm not being sneaky. I'm not."
Hmm.
The lyric, man, I wish I could recite the lyrics by heart.
Ultimate
I could have.
subversion, but it is actually subversive, uh, at least doubly because of course this character Queen whatever Wanabe, played by Tiffany Haddish. The singing's not great, but it's not supposed to be either. So
I mean,
because
she's fine.
she's fine.
I didn't. She didn't stand out as a different from like any pop that's played today. So, or stand out as inferior.
Yeah, it's a little poppy. And of course she's supposed to be this sort of flawed character who, despite the intent of the song, I guess from her perspective is to make her not seem villainous, but every moment of the song is just a pure hint at her having ulterior motives. Like she confuses
Mhm.
words. She confuses the word sinister for sincere, and then like
Oh
she has those
yes, yes. That's
flashcards with a bunch of
I'm
like
I'm totally
villainous words.
sinister. I mean, sincere. Yeah. Flash.
Then she just adds the word "un" in front of these sinister sounding words on these flashcards.
Uh, yeah, words that describe me: unmalevolent, unreproachable, or unreprehensible, unconniving.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's
unconniving. That was one of them. Unconniving. You've just added on. Yeah,
you just added un to words that literally describe.
it's like Thelonious and Shrek when he's scribbling on those cue cards for the audience.
That's a good comparison, actually. Kind of overall, there
Mhm.
it's sort of Shrekky
Oh gosh, yeah.
in the pacing and the humor.
Just the tone of the film and the place in our popular consciousness.
Yeah. No, like, and you mentioned you're surprised I didn't see it sooner, and like as much as I loved the first one, that sort of apathy towards the release of this, and I was like, oh, I know this is going to be good, and I'll see it, but I didn't have a burning like need to,
Mhm.
I guess. And maybe a lot of people are going to miss it just solely for the fact they're like, oh, I'm sure that's good, but I'm busy and there's Netflix, so I leave my house. I'll just watch it later.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
It's too bad.
I sort of likened it to the Lego video games, where now there's just a constant slew of Lego games, and they're probably great, but
Yeah, and they're not like special anymore.
they're not events. Yeah, like the kind of first few were.
The Lego Star Wars, man.
I was really into like the release of the second Lego Star Wars. I hadn't even played the first one all the way through, but I don't know. I didn't
Oh,
the second
really?
one. I maybe did
The first one was
leading
like,
up to it.
I remember staying up like 7 hours all through the night once because I got it as like a birthday present or something right
Okay.
before Revenge of the Sith came out.
I think I had seen you play most of it or something, but I was really pining for the second game. It just looked
same.
kind of it looked like a major
It looked better in every way.
upgrade. They were really figuring out that whole engine and that the mechanics of that whole scheme.
And it was better in every way, and like from the character customization to the movement and everything, except for the Jabba's palace break dancing secret Easter egg with the Rock Imperial March wasn't quite as classic as the secret Camino dance floor.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's should be going back. I've always wanted the complete saga where they put both together.
Wasn't the Camino dance a little bit more like secretive than the Jabba's palace one, or
super random? Yeah, the Jabba, you like kind of knew in the second one, you knew to look for it. And when you like found it was a room that you like walked in naturally and then went, oh, this has got to be it. Whereas in the Camino one, a complete accident. I don't even know how I discovered it. So when I did, it was like one of those jaw-dropping moments where I was just rolling on the floor laughing.
It was the heavy metal Imperial March, right?
In Jabba's
in Camino?
No, not Camino.
What song was that?
And that's the sad thing. I can't even remember. It was a techno something. It wasn't
Duel of the Fates. Was it a cover of one of the
John Williams? Or was it just the Star Wars theme?
Or okay, it was the Mecco version of the Star Wars theme, the disco Star Wars cover. Anyways, I said that the Tiffany Haddish song was subversive on two levels, which is that like, okay, so this is obviously a villain character, and of course, she's trying to come off as not a villain, but it's so obvious that she is, that the movie clearly wants me to think that this is a villain, or either that, or the movie wants me to think she's so obviously a villain
that
she's not a villain. But then I was like, no, she'll end up being a villain in the end. It's not going to be that simple.
Wait till I get going. only a great fool would think that she's a villain. It's quite clear that you're. Oh my gosh!
It's quite clear that the movie wants me to think that she's not a villain, and then the big twist at the end will be that she actually is.
Yeah.
But
you'd like to think that, wouldn't you? Yeah. That was just wonderful because the whole time you're wondering and you don't know, and then it ends up being so much more complicated than that, and then another character that you had no idea was an antagonistic force kind of swoops into that position, and it's like, oh yeah, this is the movie. These movies, they feel like, imagine the most popular like two dudes, or dude and girl, or two girls, or whatever, that not only are they the most popular in your friend group, but you also like them the most and you love hanging out with them. And they just have this like chemistry between them where anytime they start telling a story, they just know how to tell it so well. And then so it's like they're improvising, but it sounds scripted, and you don't want them to stop because they're just so good. And that's what watching this movie feels like. It's like this great, like two friends just shooting ideas off of each other. It's as funny and raw as it is when they're thinking of it, and everything that they think of just gets put on film exactly how they imagined it. And I know that's not how any movie works, but there is that sense that these get from script to screen a lot more purely than a lot of other just kind of corporately arranged films do. Like, and I'm so that, that duo I just described obviously is, probably Lord and Miller have a lot to do with that. But then there's also Chris McKay, and, a whole team has to actually, design this thing and bring it to life. And it's just interesting. Because like How to Train Your Dragon is the most recent animated film I've watched other than this. And it's like, why, when I watch the How to Train Your Dragon movies, other than kind of the first one, is there this sense of meandering or like that things aren't connecting like
Yeah.
in
It's
the
a
most
yeah.
compelling and engaging way? And why? But these movies do. These Lego movies just somehow do.
Yeah, I think with How to Train Your Dragon, due to the nature of it being like an action series set in like a fantasy world, but ultimately like they have to keep it pretty safe for kids. It's ultimately just a little bit, meddled as a result. They can't,
Yeah, but even Frozen, I'm gonna say like is closer to the Lego movie in the sense of just from start to finish, there's such a clear inspired story being told here.
Mhm.
Um it in just
Yeah.
in terms I don't know.
Yeah, it just really impacts because it has just this pure intention behind it, and that kind of comes with the clout that Phil Lord and Chris Miller have as a comedic creative duo. And
Yeah.
I haven't seen the Cloudy with the Chance of Meatballs or any of the 21 Jump Street movies,
Neither.
but clearly they've had some sort of resonance culturally. Okay,
Well,
we did
they
see.
can make Sony animated pictures look good.
Yeah,
Like that takes heavyweight champion of the world skill to pull off.
yeah. I mean, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse just won the Oscar for Best Animated Feature, and we didn't talk about the Oscars last week, but yeah,
No, we didn't.
that was definitely a worthy.
Spider-Verse won. Woo!
Yeah, yeah, worthy choice. Yeah,
And
that's
I
really the only
can't remember who won Best Picture. It was a movie I didn't see and don't
Green
care
Book.
about. And
Yeah,
Roma won Best Director for no reason. Oh, Green Book. Yeah. No, I heard that. I heard that was really good. I wanted to see it.
I saw it was good. The whole anarchic improvisational feel of just children playing is really something that could maybe get old. Sometimes improv has diminishing returns, but uh, just the jokes here were really so surprising at times and just didn't hold back on kind of warping the audience's mind, and it was, and the characters were charming, the performances were great. Yeah, and then it had such heart with the family stuff, and that really
Yeah.
is what clinched it for
Got
me.
got me.
um,
Then
the
there.
the wordplay I love in the first movie. One of my favorite moments is when Benny, the spaceman, played by Charlie Day, and of course it's great how they include the little detail of his chin strap being broken on the helmet.
Yes.
It's like how that little piece would always
So
break
relatable.
in the
Good
yeah.
job.
You know, as much as Lego might not want to, show that their product has flaws, like these movies don't care. Like they'll
Oh,
make
yeah.
every joke in the book that whether it's flattering or not. And the
And like crap on an entire line, like Duplo. No one likes Duplo. Like
Duplo, Lego
get rid of
friends.
it.
Um,
Lego Fred. How they hop with their legs that are glued together. Like
they're able to lampshade that a little bit with General Mayhem in the second one, where she has a jetpack, so she just sort of hops and glides. But then there are the other,
mm,
not unbe jetpacked characters who do
the
walk awkwardly.
we're attractive, non-threatening vampires. Or-
But like the line in the first one with the metal beard character, an homage, I guess, to Lego's famous pirates line. But and then Benny, yeah, he's trying to access or to disable the shield, blocking the heroes from entering Lord Business's tower, and he's like trying
oh,
to get the computer to turn off the shield. He's just saying all these phrases that should be obvious, to get the computer to perform this function. And finally, the thing that works is when Metalbeard comes up and in pirate speak is like, be disabling of yon shield. And she's like, oh, shield disabled.
Be disabled. No,
It's like the only jargon that was effective was his old-timey, ye oldie, piratey English.
Yeah.
So great.
So good.
I love I don't know, vocabulary humor.
Yeah, so good. What was the one joke that didn't work in the film, Philip?
Oh yeah, we talked about this in Lego
Yeah.
Movie 2. And it was in the trailer, the scene where that robot guard for was it the Queen Wanabe's throne room? It's Lucy, aka Wildstyle, is like, be prepared to meet your greatest nightmare or something like that.
I'm your worst nightmare.
I'm your worst nightmare. And then the robot guard's like, I'm late for school, something, and my pants are made of pudding.
I think she might. So you're me when I'm late for school and my pants are made of pudding. And every time I saw that trailer, I'd cringe a little bit and I'd go, that's not right.
It's like a Nickelodeon gag. Like, it's, back based, the slime angle, my pants are made of pudding. What was the show on Nickelodeon where they had to do all the crazy like stunts and
slime time, maybe? Or
shoot, I don't know if I'm gonna think of it right now.
Slime? No.
Kablam? Was it not Kablam? That was
Nick was all about slime. Still is.
I'll have to look it up. Oh, Double Dare. That must be it. I was blanking. That doesn't ring too much of a bell, but yeah, that type. Anyways, because Dawson, like, what would the joke be if it were actually like in the style of Lego Movie humor?
So you're me when I'm late to school, and I'm not wearing any pants.
Yeah,
that's it. Mm-hmm. You almost had it, Lego Movie 2. Like you had the dream that everyone know, I'm your worst nightmare. So you're me when I'm late for school and I'm not wearing any pants. And, or like, and my pants disappear, or I look down and find out I'm not wearing pants. And they already have the like, honey, wear my pants joke in the film. So I think even that one moment in the trailer, honestly, it was a huge hit to the trailer for me, and gave me a sense of, this Lego Movie sequel is going to have more misfires than the original. Like it's going to have weaker jokes. Yeah, it's going to not be as good.
I'm late for school and I forgot my homework and my pants are made of pudding.
I'm late for school. I forgot my homework and I'm not wearing any pants. Like, see, yeah, that's.
But
or I'm only in my underwear.
Of course, it brought up that recent movie that Red Letter Media talked about. We're both huge fans of Red Letter Media, the Wisconsin-based YouTube channel who do cynical reviews.
So many good movie recommends from their review series.
Yeah, and they were just talking about that movie from the Zucker brothers, who are also Midwest-based filmmakers.
That's why they're the best.
Yeah, Top Secret with Val Kilmer, and there's a
Val Kilmer's debut.
Yeah, he's like a spy in post-war Germany.
Well, he wasn't supposed to be a spy. He's supposed to be Elvis and go over to a cultural festival in Germany and then get swooped into hijinks and
crazy. Yeah, it looked like a total riot. I have yet to see it, but you recently saw it. But that one scene, that's similar to the part in Lego Movie 2, the whole late for school bit, where he's getting tortured by the East Germans, and they're like hitting him so hard he knocks out for a bit, and starts dreaming about.
There's a wibbly wobbly transition to a dream. Yeah.
Yeah, he's showing up to the school at his locker. There's another kid there, and he's like, "Oh, am I late for the exam?" And the kid's like, "Oh, the exams are over. This school's been out for weeks. What are you doing?" And he's just freaking out because he didn't, finish his final exam.
No.
And then it phases back to him getting tortured. He wakes up and he's like, whew, wipes off his brow as he's getting nuts by German.
Oh, it was just a dream. Thank
goodness I'm only getting tortured.
So if you want to watch literally one of the funniest films ever made, go rent Top Secret on Amazon Prime right now. I watched it twice back to back. Valentine's Day night with my lover, and then the next day as a double date.
Okay.
So,
wow. So
yeah,
Jillian saw it twice
too,
too. That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, so we got what we thought was halfway, and we were super tired, and we were like, and we had to have the volume super quiet because our roommate was sleeping in the next room. But it was still hilarious, but not prime circumstances. It ended up, we only had about 15 minutes left of the film.
Mm-hmm.
So we saw most of it, and then we paused it. And then the next day had people over and were like, guys, we've been watching this movie and you have to. And then we watched The Naked Gun right after that.
Oh, wow.
It was great. It was a great time.
Yeah. Naked Gun, Airplane, a bunch of these.
And I had kept making the comment that they just don't make them like they used to. And maybe that's why the Lego movie feels so good. It's like it's a throwback to back when they put time, effort, money, and skill into comedy stories where there was a story, it was great, but the comedy was wild and reckless and relentless, and it also worked. And the humor wasn't just non sequiturs and one liners, Holmes and Watson style, but it was like really intelligent jokes and
visual gags.
Visual gags, and hardly any almost no pop culture references in Top Secret. That's why it's a movie from 1983, and you wouldn't even,
apart from I guess the whole
there's a couple, but
the Ford Pinto joke.
The Ford Pinto, yeah, but even that doesn't matter because it's a car.
And the rockabilly aesthetic too.
The rockabilly, what's that?
The 50s Elvis, doo-wop.
But that's like everyone knows that, and like people love that vibe.
It's still a cultural aesthetic.
And hilarious that it's like 1949, and she's like, "Yeah, my dad got out of Germany during the Jimmy Carter administration." It's just so stupid. Yeah, she's like, "My father escaped and went to America," or because she was like, "America, they take their freedom for granted," and he's like, "I don't know, it's a pretty great place," and starts referencing all these like modern reasons why it's great, and. Or no, I think her father like left him, like escaped Germany, but then came back to escape the Carter administration or something. I don't know. It's wild. It's good stuff.
Well, maybe.
Anyway, we're talking about like a movie.
Maybe he's clairvoyant.
And speaking of Batman, it's Top Secret is Val Kilmer's debut, but the scientist character is played by Alfred from the Batman series.
Oh, yeah.
Is he in the he's in the Joel Schumacher one,
yeah,
Batman and Robin,
Bertman
and
through,
Batman Forever.
Yeah. Will Arnett, who plays Batman in both films and the Lego Batman movie. And he does make references in Lego Batman 2 to like his desirable qualities during the second of the Tiffany Haddish musical numbers, when he refers to his Val Kilmer lips, his George Clooney, like he invokes both Schumacher Batman, his Clooney charm,
The best of all Batman.
There's something about Keaton's, I don't know, edge, or his something about his darkness. Yeah, I mean, Clooney was definitely like he had the look down for Batman. So definitely have to give him props.
Yeah.
Just definitely. Part of the reason why Batman in this movie isn't necessarily so incongruous is because he has been through all those crazy iterations with Schumacher and Adam West, and hasn't always been super dark and serious as kind of more some of the more preferred iterations are.
Once, everything was awesome. Now, everything is bleak.
Hey, Lucy, I brought you coffee.
Coffee. The bitter liquid that provides the only semblance of pleasure left in these dark times.
Oh my goshness, did I interrupt you brooding just now?
Times have changed. You need to change with them. We have to be tough and battle ready.
Look, a shooting star, make a wish.
Oh no.
Hurry, the door is slowly closing.
Oh, the pain. It's getting so cold.
Emmett, what are you doing?
Hooray!
See, that wasn't so bad. Nothing got in. Ah, something got in.
I'm General Mayhem. Bring me your fiercest leader.
Lucy!
Emmett!
One of the people in the commentary, because I listened to the commentary for the first film, and they were discussing all the tools that filmmakers, storytellers have at their disposal, and how, like, while you don't necessarily want something to feel heavily reliant on tropes, or you don't want it to be cliched or repetitive with what has gone before, but it is useful to recognize the sort of the beats, the ingredients that go into a story for what they are, so that if you kind of reach a point, an impasse, or a point of writer's block, what have you, you can draw upon some of these more well worn conventions,
Time honored.
time honored, that's time honored conventions in order to complete your story without getting too obsessive about, it has to be unique and original, has to fit just right. Sometimes you can come up with resort to some pieces that were prefabricated in order to help bring your story into full circle. So the Lego movies, the first one came out 2014. I don't know, like they definitely do play to kids. There really isn't much, despite all the zany references, like there isn't. It's not Shrek-like in that there's really any crude humor. So
there was a couple times where he says things, and it's like, or where the characters would say, like, kids you don't understand this now, but you will in a few years, or you will someday. Like, and it's like crazy, like plot stuff maybe that goes over their heads, that they recognize, but they're obviously entertained by everything happening because it looks so good. But the complicated, character motivations and stuff are hard to understand. And then the final, like, movie reference is a Back to the Future reference, and he's like, it's a cool movie for big kids that that you're gonna love someday. That you aren't ready for yet. Like, makes Back to the Future reference, and then quotes
Bill and Ted Excellent Adventure.
Oh yeah, they get Bill and Ted in there. That's nuts. They quote like every. I took apart Bill and Ted's phone booth, and I took the doctor's phone booth. Like all these time travel, H.G. Wells
time machine.
Every time machine ever. He took a piece from to construct the ultimate.
And then all the references to all the Chris Pratt roles through the years was pretty great. for Rex Dangerfest. Rex stands for Radical Emmett Extreme.
Radical Emmett Extreme.
Yeah.
And allusions to future roles for Chris Pratt, maybe.
Oh well,
hopefully.
there was the whole archaeologist thing. Like he's an archaeologist, which I think is a reference to Chris Pratt. At least news articles listing Chris Pratt as in consideration for Indiana Jones, which I don't think is still necessarily the case, but it was a topic at one point in time. So it's great how that kind of made
the
it.
internet talked about it.
Yeah,
once.
the internet talked about it, so thus it gets implemented in the Lego movie.
Yeah.
And then
Well,
I loved the whole. I mean, the identity of Rex wasn't. I didn't realize that was Chris Pratt right away because he's doing a Kurt Russell.
I knew
Russell
it was his
impression.
voice, but I didn't know that was because they were the same character.
Okay. Yeah, I never saw beforehand like who was credited for the voice of Rex, and I thought they had character posters that listed the actors in front of the characters they were playing, like Elizabeth Banks.
They
as
did.
Lucy,
And it said Chris Pratt
Chris Pratt.
as Rex Dangervest.
It
and
was.
That's where I kind of learned. Yeah.
Okay. Because for some reason I maybe misremembered it as Will Arnett also playing. Because for some reason I was thinking one of the actors, the pre-existing actors, is playing this character, but for some reason I was thinking it was like Will Arnett or something, and I didn't know why that would be the case, unless it's just because in animation you frequently have actors performing multiple roles. Right. And Will Arnett, like he I don't know, he likes to have a very active role in common, in everything he's in. So
as he should.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was Chris Pratt doing kind of a Jack Burton from Big Trouble in Little China, Kurt Russell type voice. Mm-hmm. Rex Dangerfest has sort of a Snake Plissken ring to it, as far as the name goes. Snake Plissken also played by Kurt Russell, and what was that? Escape from New York, Escape from LA, in both those movies.
John Carpenter's Escape from New York.
Okay, yeah. And there was also Escape. I haven't seen any of them, but there was also Escape
I haven't either.
From Los Angeles.
But I watched the Red Letter Media review of Escape to New York, and that's where I learned so much about it.
Okay.
And I've always wanted to see it because ever since Metal Gear, Snake Plissken sounded cool, and then Escape from New York sounds cool, and it apparently is. So
Metal Gear Solid. Oh boy, that's
Snakes. I mean, he's directly inspired by Snake Plissken, and he even in Metal Gear Solid 2, Snake uses the name Snake Plissken as an alter ego for himself when he's undercover,
or just Plissken, right?
Oh yeah. When he meets Raiden and he looks just like an ordinary soldier, and he's like Plissken, like Lieutenant or Private Plissken or something.
Okay, yeah, Escape from New York, Escape from LA. All right, yeah. Escape from New York was 1981. Escape from LA was 1996. So 15 years.
Oh wow. Too. Same director, same.
LA
much worse.
Escape from LA has a 5.7 on IMDb. So the reputation's clearly not quite there. Directed by John Carpenter. Huh.
Okay.
You would think, with
a lot of
technology,
Well, 1996 was an awkward phase for anyone except Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
So.
Independence Day came out that year.
No.
I love Independence Day.
Yeah, so do I. Apparently, it's really stupid, but
it's not. That's if you look at it on a superficial level, it is sort of like if you look at Lego movies on a superficial level.
Well, no, the Lego movies are brilliant. I mean, I haven't seen it in a long time. I think I was able to get where Red Letter Media was coming from, but also like still just love.
Oh, yeah, they did review Independence Day, didn't they? And
Yeah.
they were kind of lukewarm on. I feel like they were positive though, like mixed to positive, because like Mike likes big dumb action movies, doesn't he? Like
Yeah,
Independence Day?
but they, I mean, like legit said or expressly stated that like
They don't look too
Independence Day
deeply
is,
like the whole.
the epitome of a dumb movie.
Yeah,
Like
but then if
pointed
you
out all these
score-
great reasons why, but like it's still
Mhm.
I don't know, it's fun.
Yeah, I feel like there it is operating on a deeper level though, with all the, especially the characters and some of the UFO
Like
phenomenon
that's what it's going for.
Mhm.
Thematic, big themes.
ties in
and
a lot of things, and it makes sense that like an alien that is malevolent and destructive would be clumsy and arrogant and be subject to underestimating their opponent.
Yeah, but it doesn't make sense that they would use our satellites to communicate with each other. And
I don't
you
know.
know, some of the things that like in the beginning when there's a blip on the radar.
If they're hanging in low orbit, they might not have another way of doing so.
I mean, those advanced aliens and all their ships, can't plan for that.
Because they're only a few 100 meters off the ground, or 1,000.
And the chess references where he's like, "What happens in chess? Checkmate." Because nothing in that situation is anything like a chess game. The aliens are literally just positioning themselves unobstructed to launch a bomb. Like there's nothing remotely chess-like about it.
I don't
but
know. Anything involving
but chess is always just such a. If anytime you can whip out chess symbolism, do it.
Anytime there are two
Kingdom Hearts
opponents
3
facing each other. Yeah.
The man in black and the man in white.
Uh-huh.
Kingdom Hearts 3 literally lost like all over the place.
Nice. Well, now
and
we're
it was
bringing in
glorious.
Kingdom Hearts 3. But like with Independence Day, my hunch is that these aliens that are attacking Earth are like a breakaway civilization from their race that became really advanced, but now these are the greedy subspecies that have gone off, and they're using stolen technology. They're
When
just
you
harvesting
use your imagination to make up all your own excess lore about things to get them to work in your mind. I mean, that's fine. You can do that.
They're operating within the temporal dimension, which I think many of their brethren have since sort of abandoned and have gone on to the more etheric, space between spaces once again. But yeah, the aliens who've chosen to remain temporally situated are the ones that are more prone to greed and
see, and that's
folly.
all just complete and utter BS because you're pulling it out of your ass. And
well, I mean,
so
no, it's just the sort of thing that sparks the imagination when you encounter a good story and a good movie.
yeah, I mean,
and what I'm saying does make sense on a metaphysical level.
These aliens, I bet they're an offshoot of a civilization that is from another dimension. I bet that's that's like,
Well, that is capable of traversing dimensions, because the only way you can achieve interstellar travel is through interdimensional warp.
I mean, you travel across. Well, you're in the same.
Because otherwise, it would take millions of years to.
Yes, I know, and so like Star Wars, that does something inherently unscientific. Ends up working so
It's
well
not-
just because it's good fantasy. But like,
Yeah, if you incorporate higher dimensions of existence, then yeah.
well, yeah, I guess when you said dimensions, I thought you meant like literally, inaccessible from one, or they're completely distinct from each other. But you mean like traveling through a black hole, so you're like going from like where the aliens lived millions of light years away is the same dimension as ours, but they crossed through an interdimensional portal to get to this end of that original dimension, which is the same.
Mhm.
So
And
It's
it
not
is,
like-
yeah. I mean, it's a similar principle to like
because there could be an alien in our house right now in another dimension, like
Uh-huh.
like the upside down, basically.
and that's an astral projection form of interdimensional travel versus a more practical hyperspace warp. You're opening up a portal for the passage of material objects.
I don't remember that the film explains how they got here, but obviously they did, and they're in a very physical sense. You know, they're big, clunky metal.
Yeah, they just show up. You know, presumably capable of some sort of interstellar travel. But yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, we're not here to debate Independence Day and its merits. And I'm happy to say the song that goes, "This song's gonna get stuck in your head," has never been so stuck in my head since I saw the film. I can't even remember how it goes.
I like it. I prefer it to the "Everything Is Awesome" personally.
Oh no, not at all. Everything is awesome is wonderful, and this song's gonna get stuck in your head is great for what it is, but it's not a superior song.
And Lucy,
and everything's not awesome.
The whole retcon that was good. The reprise at the end of Lego Movie 2. Oh gosh, the fake ending. I would have been so just fine, satisfied if that had been the ending.
I was stoked out of my mind for that to be the ending. And I was like, okay, there's gonna be a third, and I'm happy.
That
So,
yeah, totally cool with that. But
how did it end? With just like the cover sliding over the box, or like
they did kind of put a nice button on it at the end. Yeah, they just put it into the container of storage, the bin of storage after the Armageddon. Yeah,
because the kids had a chance to make things right, and they didn't. Or Emmett kept the ring at the end, basically. Like Emmett had one chance to destroy evil forever, and he made the wrong choice, and it was a tragic ending in the classical sense. And it was just such a bold stroke. And so and you knew they wanted to end it there so badly, but studio intervention said
the first movie was his journey to becoming Fix-It Felix, and this one was about him becoming Wreck-It Ralph.
Becoming literally. Oh, and heartbreaking that just like the real, like Lucy's like, I like the Emmett. I don't want you to change. And he's like, the real Lucy wouldn't say that. Oh,
oh, well, that was such a great layer. There's so many layers to this movie.
So many layers.
So many layers. So much.
It's so dense. Every frame and every plot.
Literally, yeah. This movie epitomizes that to the T. Every frame is so dense. But the fact that like the Rex Dangervest character is a manifestation of like the person who Emmett loves, like her desire for him is reflected in this Rex character, and like how that not being,
he becomes what she thought she wanted and what he thought she wanted him to be, and it ends up, and that of course is not what he should be.
And then also the dynamic between the siblings was great, and like how they were at odds, but it was just failure to effectively communicate.
When she says, "I just wanted you to play with me," it's like, okay, I can't take much more of this.
It's like she started out as hostile, though. Like the Duplo characters came in and started to wreck everything. But of course, that's because it's a 3-year-old.
So no wonder it was like no wonder the brother had a chip on his shoulder, and like of course we all get that, but that's like at like 5 years goodbye of these siblings growing up at odds. Mostly at odds, which is extremely unrelatable.
The whole Mad Max, wasteland, Brickburg.
This is a mature, grown-up, hardened world that we live in. Yeah, and the mom's like casual reference to his world he had constructed down there. She's like, you go play in Apocalyptic Land or whatever.
Maya Rudolph, was great. It was like she was sort of like how Will Ferrell was like, of course it's him showing up in this role in the first movie. She was kind of the only one who could play this character. I feel like Will Ferrell's voice makes a cameo, but they didn't get him in for the day.
He went golfing.
He was busy on a meeting at the golf course. It's so good though, and like reflective of Oh, well, yeah, the competing ideologies of the brother and the sister, of course, and then the fact that there's so much going on within each of their own characters as well. Like the boy has just so many competing facets to his personality, as well as the girl. You know, whatever I want to be, or whatever I want to be. You know, all that sort of material relating to the development of child psychology, and just how there really is a lot of just dissonance and confusion. It's just all trying to be worked out through play, essentially, through telling stories,
through iterated games.
it's sort of like in Inside Out. Yeah, the islands of personality, or whatever they're called.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, and my final note is I have a big crush on General Mayhem. She's in a movie that,
And that's weird, and that's where we'll end.
very weird. But like with
No,
all
yeah, I mean,
the-
she took off the helmet, and I'm like, well, that's a bizarrely attractive Lego character. I mean, I think it was how like amazingly vulnerable she suddenly became. Like,
That's true.
For a toy. It was like you have this Lego face, but you have this like look in your eyes that you're scared. And
it's not a traditional Lego minifigure, though. It's the Lego Friends that's more shapely to, it's, you know, human proportioned, but also kind of proportioned like a Disney character.
the shapely Polly Pocket Lego Friends characters.
Mm-hmm. It's a little tough trying to feel attracted to the Elizabeth Banks
to humans when they're
oh well, and humans too.
Shapely.
Exactly. When we have animated characters, they're just so much better looking.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for listening.
Great little joke.
We're gonna keep our
and the like the
kinks
color
to
scheme
ourselves.
for
Have-
but the color scheme for Wild Style's hair, Lucy's hair, matches General Mayhem's, like her face makeup. She's got these like random.
Yeah, they all had a Hatsune Miku Vocaloid thing going
Yeah.
on.
I'm not into those at all, by the way.
Hey,
I have to now
well,
backtrack all this joke.
yeah, that was my first thought. It was like, oh, Wild Style was originally like a Vocaloid EDM happy-go-lucky gal, and then got super hardened and edgy, and then General Mayhem reveals, and it's like, oh, it's a Vocaloid, big poofy.
It's also on an Elsa colors, by the way, the light blue and magenta. Just thought I'd
So they're Vocaloids
point
too.
that out. Yeah. All right, time to go. And thanks
All
for chatting, Dawson. And we'll be back again on the
Have a
Thoughtcast.
good night.
Yeah.
See ya.
See you soon. Thanks for listening.
See you in another life.